We are up and we are live. We are live. Welcome, welcome everybody to the MumFreedomPreneurs Hangout. Welcome. And today we have a very powerful topic. It is about having transformational conversations. And what does that mean with ourselves, with our kids, in our business, everywhere, and how it affects everything, how to do it. And we have something special at the very end to bring to you as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to quickly go across the panel. Everybody, we're going to introduce ourselves. For those of you that may not know who we are, and then we'll start diving into the topic. I'll start. I'm Valerie Jampolsky, a Mum Freedompreneur from Abundance Now, and I don't even have my little lower third up. I'll put that up in a second. And I'm a single mom with twin 5-year-old boys. I do my usual naked kid alert. They're in the other room, but I strategically placed myself. They tend to love to run around without their clothes on. But I'll do my best to keep them. I get that covered. I do this so I can be home with my kids. I used to be an attorney, and I made a determination. I wanted to be really, really home with my kids and not have them raised by other people, and be able to really talk about the things that we talk about here, to really help people to transform their lives, be able to see the world in a different way, and to live in a very different way. So very happy to have you guys all here, and I'm going to go across the panel, starting over with Sarita.
Hello everybody. I'm Sarita. I've got 2 little ones, and I'm in Perth, in Australia. It's 11:23 here. We're a little bit late, and I apologize, but things happen. So at the moment my kids are asleep, so I'm gonna get some time to just be able to just talk without being interrupted. When they're up there, it's pretty loud here, so. It's pretty awesome. Been working online for just over a year now, and just loving it. And in my coat in Australia, because it's freezing actually. It's pretty much getting into winter now, and it's actually really cold here in Perth at night time. Bit of like a desert city where it gets really cold at night. So I'm really excited to be here, and I love the topic. So I'm looking forward to sharing a little bit.
Yeah.
I pass the to Gabrielle.
Hey, yeah, it's Gabrielle Morrison here, and I'm actually in Perth as well with Sarita, and yeah, it's freezing. Did I just drop out? No. So it's pretty late, and I stayed up tonight, but luckily I'm not working. I don't need to worry. I can kind of chill out with the kids. I've got 2 kids, a little girl and a boy, and we actually went to the zoo today, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I started this for exactly that reason, to have the freedom to choose what we want to do when we want to do it. And now I'm helping other mums do the same, and it's pretty cool. So yeah, stick with us and have a listen to us this morning or tonight, whatever time it is for you. And I hope you get some value from it.
Great, thank you. We're going to pass it on over to Greta.
Hello, everybody. I don't know if you ladies checked on the page. I just left a couple comments there to make sure that everybody can hear us. Those of you who have joined us live, I know that we said, we started a few moments late, so apologies for that. I was busy making muffins and doing other things, and I might pop around the corner and just take them out of the pan. I still haven't taken them out of the pan yet. For those of you who don't know me, I am a busy mumpreneur of half a dozen kids, and I'm a homeschooling mom. I live on Vancouver Island in British Columbia, Canada. And as my kids are blowing bubbles outside, and even though it's a little gray out, we're still enjoying this beautiful, beautiful weather that we've been having here. It's been super, super warm. I think around like 24, like in the 80s, I think. For those of you, I don't know if you're in Fahrenheit or Celsius, but it's about 24 degrees Celsius. So it's been really just like perfect temperature. Lots of beach days and fun and stuff like that. And I definitely hopped on this hangout today because I know that I need to be honest. I need to hear the things that will be shared here, and hopefully I'll have something that will come out of me that will be exactly what you need to hear today too. So super excited.
Great, great, and I'm sure you will, Greta, as you always do. and we really would love to get your comments as well. If you have any thoughts, any aha moments, anything on the page, those of you watching, and even in the replay, if you're happy to watch this, yeah, you know, in the replay, our intention with this hangout is that, with all of our hangouts, is that energetically we are all together. You know, because energetically we are. So it is as if you are live. Our energy is with you. If you are watching this in the replay. And please, you know, leave your thoughts, comments, questions, anything, and we will be responding on the page. So quickly, I'm going to go over some thoughts on this, and then we'll kind of go across back and forth, you know, a little bit back and forth with all of us here on these thoughts. And at the end, I'm going to set forth an exercise for us at the very end. And what, you know, I talk about transformation challenge. I mean, you know, having transformational conversations, and what does that mean? And this is something I was, you know, I'm usually inspired by Michael Bernard Beckwith and many others. This kind of came from there. But it's the idea that, you know, a lot of times we have thoughts about things, and they're not necessarily the most positive thoughts. And you've heard me talk about this, but negative thoughts, you know, I mean, you can choose this. I choose to believe this. I've heard it many places. They are not our thoughts. They are thoughts that come across, and we can choose whether or not to take them in and buy into them or not. And oftentimes and I've fallen into this, you know, fall prey to this, of having thoughts come in, and it's a habit of just reacting from them. And it comes in and it comes flying out of our mouth as negativity as well. So it goes in and you know, have negative emotions, and it can come out as negativity, negative self-talk. It can come out as you know, negative talk to our kids, negative talk in our business, negative talk to others. There's a variety of different ways. And what I want to talk about is you know, the ways to be able to actually halt those thoughts, and exercises in different ways. I know we all have different ways of doing this, of being able to transform that conversation that starts internally into a better internal conversation, and having a better external conversation as well with everybody in our world, including your kids. I mean, that's one of the times I will say it's so easy to fall into this habit of always, with our kids especially, looking to, like, you know, telling them what not to do. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. And if something happens, having a negative response to what's going on around us with them, as opposed to taking a deep breath and making a decision about how we want to communicate in the world, even with ourselves, of going, okay, when it's an internal thought, going, taking a look at that thought, and having it starts with that awareness, of an awareness that the negative thoughts are not us, and to have a and I know, Sarita, you've talked about this, about having this emotional awareness of where you are emotionally inside of you, right? And if there is kind of a negative emotional feeling, chances are we've bought into a negative thought. And the more we become conscious of where we are in our emotional states, we're going to be more able to have a conscious awareness of the thoughts before it gets to a negative emotional state, if that makes any sense. And there's a lot of different ways to go about doing that. I'm going to throw out generally some stuff, and then maybe go across the panel with some, you know, ways that a lot of us have done this. You know, there's audios, there's videos, there's reading, there's meditation. And in meditation, for me, I'm just going to suggest out a very different way of meditation, which is not necessarily stopping the mind, but focusing the mind on an awareness of who and what we really are, an awareness of the beauty and the love and the joy, the essence of everything that connects everywhere. And when we stop and go into that still place, we can feel that connection, focus on that awareness, focus on that connection, have a focus in there, and gently bring our thoughts and our feelings and our awareness into that, which allows opening into wisdom. But there's so much more I want to talk about, but I want to like go back and forth and have this as a back and forth conversation as to how each of us have done that, you know, internally with ourselves, maybe with our kids. I've got more to talk on that. And in our business, and how it affects what we communicate out there. What before we may, you know, have this instinct to, you know, there might be this thing that's coming up where you want to say something negative to someone or to our kids, or complain about something on Facebook or whatever it is, and how to put a halt and come forth with something different, and how to be aware of it. Sarita, do you want to go in, because I know you've done a lot of work on this on the emotional side of this. And being aware of your emotional state. Whoops, I think you're muted. Sorry, Han.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Now you're, yay!
Yes. So for me, I try very much to focus my awareness on my heart center. So because I know if I'm in my heart, you know, I've done a lot of self-development over the years. I've done a lot of workshops, seminars, therapy. I've done whatever, like you name it. And one of the things that I found really helps me is just I focus my awareness on my heart, pretty much my heart center, and I try to live from my heart. And simply by doing that, I feel like my thoughts are less negative. Or if I go into, you know, you could go into sadness, obviously, because you feel more vulnerable being in your heart, but at the same time, I just feel more connected, I guess, to possibly my higher self, if you want to call it that. And also, yeah, I think I'm just very good at brainwashing myself into, and I have possibly brainwashed my own brain into, you know, because I listen to so much positive audio now that I think I really have successfully rewired my brain quite well, because I do have negative thoughts, but most of the time I can truly see the positive in the negative quite quickly. It doesn't take me very long, and that's one of the things that I also try to do. So if something negative happens, and even if it's a really very big negative thing, I try to, you know, I do truly believe that everything happens for a reason, as an opportunity for us to grow, and I have experienced that from past things, and I just know, as a fact for me, I have very much faith that whatever happens is just an opportunity for us to grow and actually become, you know, fulfill our purpose more. So yeah, I guess doing a lot of self-development helps. And what did I write down? Yeah, just having that awareness that when you have a negative thought, it you know, it can go into a negative word, and then a negative word can become a negative action, and then you get obviously a negative reaction from people. And it can go to a point where you get negative physical symptoms, to a point of illness, you know. And I think that's what the universe kind of what can happen is, if you never do anything, you know, have no self-awareness, and you're constantly negative, it can actually give you energetic blocks in your body, and you can get sick. And that's when people, like some people, get really sick, but then later on they say, wow, this illness has been the best thing for me, because they finally had to, you know, clear all that. Like the universe told them, like, you know, you've never done it otherwise, so there you got that illness. And that's just my understanding of it. Some people might have a different opinion, but I have just read lots of stories of people who've overcome an illness because they had to really look at themselves and look at their thoughts, and get rid of all the negative stuff in their life that before they were never pushed against the wall enough for them to do that for themselves. And I think, you know, it'd be awesome if, you know, like I know for myself, I hope I'm never going to get to that point where I get really sick. I hope I can stop it in the tracks, you know. And so for me, yeah, I'm trying to just live from my heart and really keep my heart open. But at the same time, I'm learning also to protect myself more, and, you know, being very selective. And I've said that many times before, who I surround myself with, what I listen to. You know, I don't listen to the news. I don't watch the news. I don't really read the paper. I don't read gossip magazines. I read my books. I listen to my positive audio, and I'm pretty much addicted to it, and that keeps me in that happy place. even though, you know, things happen in my life, which happens to most people, there's always some ups and downs happening, but it just keeps me in that happier place. And I do lots of things like music. I've got constantly music on, incense on, candles on. I do all these things to make myself feel good. And if I feel good, I have better thoughts. So it really works. And, you know, little things like waking up in the morning and smiling and being grateful for things. You can really train yourself to have a better day just by doing simple things like that. And it's so awesome as a mom to teach that to your children. Like I listen at nighttime to a lot of audio. I've got audio on pretty much all night. On YouTube you can get lots of positive like affirmations, and that goes into your subconscious while you're sleeping. And my kids sleep with me in the room, so they get it as well. And I think it has a positive effect, you know, just because it goes into your subconscious, even if you're not aware of it consciously. And yeah, that's I think that's all I wanted to add. And yeah, one of the things that I'm at the moment, like Louise Hay, I've really digged into her stuff. I mean, I always get my phases where I get quite, I think I'm quite obsessive compulsive, and I go really hard on one. You know, I don't just listen to an audiobook and then the next day another one. I just can listen to it over and over and over and over. And at the moment, for me, it's Louise Hay, because it just, I think it's really something that's helping me at the moment. And it's all about like affirmations and self-love and self-healing. And that's really working for me at the moment. And my kids love Louise Hay. Like, it's so funny. Like, my daughter, she's like, so what are we going to listen to, Jerry Hicks or Louise Hay? She's like, Louise Hay. And, yeah, it's awesome. So I let them pick as well, which is great.
Oh, cool. That's so cool. So if you share with everybody, which one, like right now, which one's one of your faves that you're listening to at night?
So yeah, so Louise Hay's got You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay, but then there is The Power Within, also by Louise Hay, and then I just go YouTube playlist Louise Hay often at night, because that way it just keeps on playing all night, and I know it's positive, and yeah, we wake up and we're still listening to it, and yeah, the kids, they don't mind it, like they're so used to it. And it's really, I think it makes a huge difference, and it's something, you don't have to do anything, you know, you just listen to it while you're sleeping, and you don't even know you're listening to it, but I think it makes a huge difference.
I love that. I love that. I love that. So and
you can't say you don't have any time for it, right?
Exactly. You're doing it in your sleep. So you set it up as a playlist in YouTube to play while you're sleeping. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's very, very cool.
Yeah, I just love it. And I know if I don't do it, I don't sleep as well, and I just wake up totally different, you know, and even waking up to it is awesome. Just first thing in the morning to listen to something like that is just sets up your whole brain in a different way, you know. And then, you know, my children and I, we're doing the good morning songs, and we like good morning, you know, we're doing like, we have our little rituals where we sing good morning to each other, and things like that I think is huge, because like they say, when you get up and you get up with the wrong foot and everything goes wrong, it's like that's how you start your day. And like, I hate rushing in the morning, so I make an effort not to rush. And you know, Grace goes to kindy now, so it's a bit more of a rush, but I really make an effort not to, because that can really make you feel stressful, and I don't want to feel stressed, you know, because I know when you feel stressed, then you're going to attract more, and it just starts, this snowball effect starts happening where, you know, the day can get worse and worse and worse, where you can also have that snowball effect, I guess, if something awesome happens, something better can happen. And Gabrielle and I were just talking about this the other day, because like, yeah, all these awesome things happened for Gabrielle last week, and you know, so it's truly up to you, I think, and yeah, we're very much in control. And like, I think what I love about this challenge that Valerie's talking about, just give it a go. Like, if you've never tried it out and you think we're crazy, thinking this is all airy fairy stuff, give it a go for 3 days. You know, don't listen to the news, don't listen to gossip magazines, make an effort not to say anything. negative about anyone. Don't gossip. You know, just be positive for 3 days. Kind of like what do you like? Negative detox diet or something, and see how you go. See how you feel, and if you're actually feeling better, or if things are happening for you. Because they say, I mean, Louise Hay talks about it a lot, and she says the moment you love yourself more, and you feel that love for yourself, and you're being more positive, and you have all these miracles seem to happen in your life. All these things, like the universe starts aligning for you, and I find that's happened to me a lot. You know, and yeah, you've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. So let us know in the comments if you've given it a go, and what your experience has been.
Yeah, everybody who's willing to do this in the comments. I was gonna talk about it at the end, but that's cool. Cat's out of the bag. 3-day challenge, and that includes saying anything negative to your kids, admonishing them in a negative way. We can get into that in a little bit of how to get around that, because I know as a habit as a mom, it can go there, and it's a spiral where everything coming out of your mouth is something about what they're doing wrong. It can happen, so that includes that, and that's a powerful. And as moms, it's a powerful piece. I might realize how much we're doing and what we might be ingraining into our kids if everything that's coming out of our mouths is something that's negative about them. So what they're doing, or what they're doing or not doing wrong or right. I would love to know, Sarita, what song you sing your kids in the morning. Oh,
I'm not a good singer, so I don't think. But we sing something like "Good morning, good morning, good morning to you. Good morning, dear Nikki. Good morning." Like just a very simple children's song. But the way then they want to take turns, and it's so funny because then Grace doesn't want to let Nikki sing, and then it's just so funny. They keep interrupting each other, so I've got to keep it. So that's our first challenge for the day, is that one child lets the other child sing without interrupting.
Yeah.
They just want to be singing without the other person.
Right.
And it's so funny. But it's so sweet, it's so sweet when they sing, and that makes me feel good just hearing them sing it to me, it's awesome. So
that's
yeah.
That's so sweet. So everybody below, if you're up, if you're in for it, even in the replay, you're in for the 3-day challenge. Let us know. We're going to be checking in a little bit too. I'm going to pass it on over to Gabrielle while your internet is still up and working.
Yeah, it hasn't been playing for me lately, but yeah, those morning songs are awesome. We do that too, and it's just the smiles on their faces. It's so cute. I love it. One of my actual, what do you call it? One of my techniques in getting rid of self-talk is actually going to Sarita's house because she helps me out. I went last weekend, and literally my week was just amazing. It's just like a spec, like she said, like a momentum, and I just kept on that level, and everything was just coming. I was just like, wow. So yeah, keeping yourself up there is probably the hardest thing for me, but yeah, it was cool. But I think, like, just talking briefly, I used to really, really talk badly to myself, and for me, it was like my image, the way I looked. I wasn't happy with my body, and wow, I used to literally like stand in front of the mirror and just rip myself apart, like literally, like I think I'd even have like, I'd be pulling parts of my body because I just didn't like it, and it was so nasty, and I was doing that for years. I only really stopped doing after I had my daughter, Saren, and I guess the switch in, like the whole focus wasn't me anymore. Like it was actually so beautiful just to take that focus off me. Like everything wasn't about me anymore. I could actually put my focus on my daughter, and yeah, it was massive. So that even just we're Mumpreneur Hangout, so as mums watching, and it's I think a lot of you might have felt something similar. Your focus changed. But yeah, I do meditation, and I think it's the mornings that really makes a difference. Like as soon as I get up, it's what am I grateful for, and saying thank you, and just making sure you're starting the day the right way, and just keeping those thoughts going with you for that day. And we all, you know, go down again, and that's when you reach out as well. I reach out to, you know, the beautiful panel here. You know, we're a big support for each other, which is, you know, I started this business wanting to have with my kids like me, and I ended up like with, you know, these friends that are changing my life. So it's very special. Again, like, I think we all do very similar things with the audios. I wish I could do them more, but Sarah actually doesn't like them. She's like, oh, turn it off, turn it off. She just like, she wants her own music on so she can dance around the house. So when she's like, no, I want to hear my music. But yeah, I was always listening to a lot of the Law of Attraction, Esther Hicks, Louise Hay. I have her audiobooks. I love Deepak Chopra and Wayne Dyer. Just constantly listen to those in the car. Because it is true, like, you know, if you change your thoughts, you literally can change the world. So it's so important what we say to ourselves. And just having that point, and to pause, like if I'm having something bad, or if I'm going to say something that's not great, I'm like, okay, take a deep breath, like really what's this going to achieve? And just giving yourself a few seconds just to stop and just think and just say, okay, no, let's just move on and just change your thoughts. And yeah, it's a process. But yeah, you just have to keep going and just be mindful. I think it just starts with, you know, being mindful about it, and that's the beginning. This 3-day thing that Valerie's going to share with us is going to be great. Like, it's a really good thing just to try, you know, getting rid of newspapers. Like, I don't watch the news. I think my husband has it on sometimes, but I don't watch TV anymore, actually. You know, a movie every now and again, but I just don't want to be influenced by things like, you know, just advertising that's on. I don't need to do that. I keep positive. I want to keep in that positive vibration all the time. And I love that what you were saying, like, focus on your heart. I'm really going to think about that now when I'm doing that whole pausing thing, and just kind of, you know, even just to hold my heart and just say, okay, that's a really good one. I like that, Sarita. Yeah, so that's a few things that I'm doing. But yeah, I think it's very similar. Because we're very like-minded, so we'll probably say very similar things. Yeah. Oh, Elizabeth's just popped on.
Yeah. Well, we'll come back to you in a second, Elizabeth. Yeah. But what we're doing is we're talking about you know, how to have transformational conversations. We did brief introductions. Now we're getting into all the various things that we do to do that, and so I'm gonna go over to Greta, and then we'll come back over to you. And I love it. Were you finished, Gabrielle? You have more that you wanted? I know you got excited. You saw Elizabeth.
I just remembered what else I wanted to say, actually. Yeah, I know, Elizabeth. But for me, like, my main thing is food, like health and wellness. And when I started getting into food and having that passion for it, everything changed. And I really believe, like, what you're feeding yourself can actually choose, like, so much as well. So, but yeah, I know a few of it, so I'm sure I'll talk about my passion for health and food another time. But I just think, yeah, it is important what you're feeding yourself, and, you know, making sure that it's, if you can, making sure it's organic, and just having that love when you're preparing your food, not doing it in a rush, and, yeah, taking the time to make that a special moment, like sitting down and just like giving thanks before you eat, and just, yeah, just those whole sort of lifestyle changes really do help. Thanks, Valerie, for letting me.
That is so cool, and I love that, having that awareness as well about giving that to ourselves. Greta, you ready to come out? Yes?
Yeah. I am. It's funny sitting here on these hangouts. There's just so many things that I can relate to. It's hard for me. I'm taking notes as you're all talking, and kind of but most of it, I will admit, is, like I said, are things that I can relate to, and yet in one aspect I think, okay, so what can I share that can help others that they haven't heard yet? And then at the same time, you know, because there are all these similarities, and I see, and I've been a part of this journey, you know, towards a better, you know, a better self, for, you know, becoming better mothers, becoming better daughters, you know, friends, all those sorts of things. The reason why we were able to get to where we are today is because we are following these things. You see a pattern from all of these different ladies sharing, and from myself, because it works, because these things do make a difference. And so, you know, even though you may be hearing the same things over and over, that's also very powerful, because it's ingrained, it's getting ingrained into your subconscious, and will be easier for you to remember and to use for your own life. So I'm just grateful that I'm here today. Just having these reminders as well for myself is just truly so powerful. And so I'll just go off my notes here a little bit as well. As I'm not sure, you know, who's on today, but I as well. Health is a huge thing for me. It's like my main. Every day, everything is sort of, you know, I feel like health is the most important thing, health and wellness. And when you have those, you know, everything else kind of is aligned in the way that it needs to be. I feel like health is just number one. Without your health, you don't really have much. So, you know, that's I'm very passionate about it, and my kids know that. You know, we, as well as, you know, us not having, and that hits a lot of different areas as well: spiritual, mental, physical, financial, mental. I'm not sure if I said all the ones, but you get it. And you know, there are many different aspects to it. But the main thing is just each and every day before I go to bed, I do the same sort of things that Sarita does. I listen to audios, I listen to meditations. There's certain ones that are my favorite as well, certain ones that I will listen to for months consistently. And then, you know, and then there will be some sort of shift. I'll need something different. So then I'll be introduced to something else. Something else will come up for me, and that will be what I need at that moment. When you, like Sarita was saying, like when you open your heart, you leave yourself open, things just start to kind of come in that you need at that very moment. It's exactly what you need. And that's the thing as well that I always think, you know, even if I'm going through a difficult situation, I just say to myself, everything is exactly how it should be. And, you know, I am in, sorry, I have a brain fart. I can't even think of what I was saying. And, you know, it's funny because I used it like as a mantra as I was giving birth to my last son. And I think it was everything is as it should be. And it was like the most amazing experience for those of you who have had, you know, have birthed children before. It was definitely my best, and probably most likely my last. You know, I like being able to say I have half a dozen kids. I'm good with that. But while I was in labor with him, I just remember just feeling so at peace, because I kept saying this over and over, and I felt completely connected to my baby at that time, and it was like that's all I needed. You know, I was just completely in the zone, and, you know, quiet as can be. Like, the midwives and my family, like, they just couldn't believe it. I mean, compared to the first, holy smokes. I think I said the F-bomb about like 50,000 times. I had like nurses coming in, like, please give her an epidural. It was like totally like night and day to go from where I was the first time, totally clueless and just allowing everything to freak the crap out of me. I just didn't know what was happening, to embracing it and loving every moment of the experience. And virtually, like, I wouldn't say it was like pain, it was like this empowering feeling, and oh, it was so amazing. It's just beautiful. So you're probably thinking, as I'm talking about your own experiences, whether it was, you know, really difficult like my first, or maybe you had a beautiful birth as well. I don't know how this happened, how I started talking about this, but the power of intention, the power of positivity, of surrounding yourself with people who believe and feel the same things that you do, who are willing to do whatever it takes to create a better life for themselves, who are, you know, doing the same things that you are. Yes, we have no television. Yes, I don't listen to the radio or the news. You know, we have our CDs and audios that we listen to all the time with my children, and you know, and we listen to them so much that they can recite them, you know, and the things, you know, like that Valerie has shared on this before. I could go on. Like I said, there were so many things. One conversation I recently had with my kids, which is very, very important, which I think a lot of people lose sight of, or we ignore it, is our intuition. Our intuition is extremely powerful. It's there for a reason, and we need to listen to our intuition more. I really feel like when I listen to my intuition, I'm able to move along in my life with a lot more conviction, with a lot more self-esteem, just feeling like I really am living my purpose, because there is that thing there. It's there for a reason. And I talk to my kids about that. And, you know, I can be pretty bold when I need to be with my kids about that sort of thing. But an incident came up recently, and as we were going over the details of the situation, I was able to ask them, what were the thoughts that you were thinking when this situation happened? What was going through your mind? What were you feeling? And, you know, it was very apparent that they had these inner thoughts, this inner guidance that was telling them that they were making the wrong decision. And it was really cool to be able to point that out for them, and for them to realize that it doesn't matter whether I'm there or not. They have what they need inside of themselves already. And it doesn't matter how old they are. They have what they need to make the right decisions and the right choice for themselves. Not for me. It's for them. Those voices were there for them. So for me, that's one very powerful thing that I can share with you today is the power of your intuition. Use it. You have it for a reason.
Wow, that's so powerful, Greta. That's so powerful. And you're using the word intuition, and maybe to connect the dots with what I've been saying. When I say, you know, you take a look at those negative thoughts and you realizing that you can choose that they're not you. That to actually, if you take that deep breath and allow yourself to listen inside, and I talk about your inner wisdom, it's the same thing. Intuition, inner wisdom, that voice, that place. And, you know, Sarita, I think it's so powerful what you do, and you're talking about having that awareness of living from your heart. I mean, all of it. We're all kind of saying the same thing, and it's the way that it's different ways of looking at the same thing, which is really powerful. Like I think belief systems, being conscious of the fact that we don't need to listen, that a negative thought is something that we can choose to separate from, that we do have what we call it living from your heart, living from your intuition, living from opening up to inner guidance, inner wisdom, whatever you want to call it, having the awareness, and that in a situation, looking for the good, looking for what even if you do, know, even just having an awareness that, like you said, I mean, Sarita, what you're saying, I'm sort of like, because I see connectivity here, and I'd like to bring in Elizabeth on, is like connecting the dots, and I love doing that, connecting the dots on things, and because you were talking about, you know, having this belief and awareness that everything, that you know, anything that happens, that there's a goodness in there somewhere, that it's all happening for a positive reason. Like even if somebody gets sick, it's there because it allows you to take, you know, to give yourself the space and time to finally take a look inside and realize to stop that you have you have this beauty inside. You don't need to be constantly negatively attacking yourself, or even if you don't even know what or how, just that awareness that somehow, some way, there is a positive of the movement of the universe of all this, and when we listen to our intuition, we can feel it and see it, or listen to our heart, whatever that means. For those of you listening to this, different words are going to resonate with you differently. Intuition, heart, wisdom, source. You know.
Gut feeling.
Yeah. So,
you know, that's another one.
So what was you say that again, Sarita? What was it?
When you trust your, like, you gotta, like I was saying it just before, you trust your gut,
Yeah,
because, I mean, I get that, sometimes we get that hunch, it's like that, really, and you feel it in your gut, and it's so strong, but our mind often doubts that, you know, the moment you feel that, and then, well, that's my experience, you're like, don't be silly, but I've learned over the years now, and I'm learning it more and more, that whenever I've had that gut instinct, actually, later down the track, I was thinking I should have just listened to that then, you know, like I was actually, there's that innate wisdom or gut feeling that we are very powerful and we just don't know, like they say we only use so much of our brain, you know, I think we're very powerful beings, and we, you know, society has kind of taught us to just listen to our brain instead of, there's so much research now being done anyway, you know, with the heart-centered living from your heart, that there's actually, a lot gets proven now, where before it was all airy-fairy, which I love. But it's actually really powerful, and we are very powerful beings, and you can just give that a try for 3 days too. Just listen to your gut for 3 days. Don't listen to anyone else.
That's all part of the same thing. Having that positive transformational conversation with yourself, it starts with the awareness of the negative that might have been a habit of just listening to, and then making a conscious decision to A, be aware of it, B, surround yourself with things to adjust, and C, you know, listening. It's like it's a process. Awareness, and then making consciousness of listening, and then making a choice of, even if it's like, you know, something normally would happen, something be around you, and you'd be tempted to something come flying out of your mouth, to, if you have to even go like, I'm just a sec. I'm just gonna, you know, and then, okay, maybe this person, you know, they're dealing with a, you know, they're stressed about something, and you know, whatever it is that's around you, you know, whatever it is, it's like awareness that they're going through whatever they're going through inside, and to just say, okay, I'm gonna you know, bless this situation, or I'm going to hold my mouth before I say something, and having that consciousness, especially with our kids. I want to just, by the way, I mean, if anybody wants to know some of the sources of, like everybody was saying, different places of audios and things, if you go to agapelive.com and click on the streaming archives, it's free. You can get a lot of some of the stuff that I've been talking about with Michael Bernard Beckwith. That's all in there. So I'm going to pass it on over to Elizabeth. You're up next, hon.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Can you hear me? Because I'm not used to my headset
yes.
today. Okay.
I'm muting myself out here.
I'm sorry we woke up early today. Part of what you've been seeing me doing is I'm making breakfast for everybody. But just from what I was gathering with what everybody... Okay. what I was gathering, what everybody was saying, was motivational things to listen to, trying to keep a positive outlook, and all of that. I know I listen to Bob Proctor and the Abraham Hicks YouTube videos a lot, and I can definitely say that it's easy that you get stuck in a downward spiral. You know, as many people know, I'm in a new relationship, and we've been talking about a lot of things as it goes on and spending a lot of time together. But I find that when he goes away or goes back to his house because he lives so far away, I get very upset. And that tends to spiral me down. So this morning, as we were getting up, I was sitting there saying, you know, I'm having trouble with this, but I have to focus on the positive, which was the law of attraction. And that not dwelling on his going away, but I'm in this relationship with this wonderful guy, that he's going to be coming back in about 10 days. We're going to be spending more time together. He's great with my kids, you know, dealing with all the positives, because all I'm seeing right now is he's going away for 10 days. So, you know, it's a little bit hard because he's become a really big rock for me, and he's phenomenal with my kids. So it's easy to fall into those downward spirals over the tiny little things, and you know that so many other things are happening at the same time. And oh, he's coming over and hugging me. But you know, it's just crazy. That thank you. That's my little one.
And by the way, I made breakfast.
She mixed up the cornbread for me this morning. So we're trying to do all these things. Now, in regards to the kids, when it comes to rules and everything for the kids, my kids make their own rules. We sit down and we discuss what behaviors are expected and what behaviors aren't allowed, and they come up with the punishments for when they break those rules. And the thing is that when they break a rule that they know is a rule of the house, they know that they're looking for that punishment, that they can't get out of that punishment. And it's a very odd way to look at things, the way we do it in our house. But the thing is that I found that when I made punishments for the kids in repercussion to things that they would do, that it didn't faze them. It didn't matter to them. So we would sit down and we'd discuss the rules. They even came up with a bunch of the rules. And so now, working as a cooperative, it actually ends up being a more positive thing because they're less likely to break the rules because they help make the rules. And another thing that we do to try to keep the positives going is that, you know, when my son was younger, he had a biting thing. I don't know if any of you have gone through that yet. They get to be like 4 or 5 years old and they start with a little nipping when they get upset. And he would bite incessantly, and it didn't matter what we told him to do, until it came down to the fact that if he was going to do it to somebody else, it was going to be done to him. That's like a major, major rule in our house. And the reason being, if you don't want somebody to do that to you, you're not going to do it to somebody else. And when people first hear what I say, they look at me like I'm insane. But the fact of the matter is, it makes them stop and think about the behaviors that they're performing around other people, about what they're doing to other people. Well, if I don't want them to do this to me, why should I be doing it to them? And it actually gives them a much better, more positive outlook because they don't behave instinctively. They turn around and they look at what they're doing so that they don't hurt somebody else because they don't want to be hurt. It's a very weird way of looking at things, I guess. But it actually has helped my kids be such a good pillar in the community that the vice principals call me up and tell me what good kids they are. And different parents tell me what good kids they are because they're dealing with what they perceive to be behaviors that they don't want to deal with. It's sort of like the intuition that Greta was saying, you know, that if you don't want these things to happen or if you feel a certain way about things, it'll guide the way you behave. Well, we've put it into practice in our house. And I'm babbling a lot. I apologize. But I'm just woke up and I'm trying to make sure I hit the topics that I think you're hitting. Am I doing okay?
Yeah, you're good. You're good, Elizabeth. I can relate to a lot of what you're saying.
But
and
it's hard when you got a whole bunch.
Yeah, and we're leading this into a 3-day challenge at the end of this, where we're all going to be for 3 days not not speaking negativity out of our mouths to ourselves, to our kids, in our business, and the process of that, and techniques to make that happen. So that's part of also what we're doing. Whoop, Gabrielle's back in. Elizabeth, you there? I don't know if we can hear sound. You might got me.
She might be out. I'm not sure.
She froze. She looks like she froze. Yeah. So I know we started late. I want to throw out just some other thoughts on that. I said I was going to talk about stuff on the kids side of things. An alternate way of looking at all this too. For anybody that wants a little bit of research on this, if you go to CNVC, C like in cat, N, it's Center for Nonviolent Communication.org. It talks about all this in terms of communication. And this is Marshall Rosenberg. This is something I'd studied and trained in. Actually, I used to be a parent-child like therapist. That was what I did also in another life. But is making a priority of connection. Like you say, talk about priority of living from. It's kind of like the same thing saying living from the heart. Another way of looking at it is a priority of connection. And you can focus it on your kids. You can focus it on your business in a way. But it's like on the kids side of things, it's about stopping and taking that breath and looking inside, before a reflex reaction. And in a way, what you've done, we talk about this about creating agreements, where you sit down with the kids, and it works. There's ways of doing this with younger kids, but with the older ones, where you sit down and you have when there's a conversation that's all about awareness of what the other person's needs are, what they're feeling, and you ask them, "What are you feeling? What do you take a guess? Are you feeling, sad because you need this?" Instead of having like a quick reaction onto somebody. Are you feeling sad because, or frustrated because you need this? And get everybody to talk, to have a sense of what's really underneath anything that might come up. Like if a situation arises, understanding, even within ourselves, understanding what needs are not being met, and what feelings are arising from that, which is different, and which is different than saying I feel, not judgment. Like if you're saying things like I feel abandoned, or I feel disrespected, or I feel manipulated. Those are judgments. Those are not looking at thoughts and feelings. That's putting a judgment on what somebody else's, what's going on inside of them and why they're doing something. Oftentimes people do things because they have a need, whatever it is. It could be a need to express, it could be a need to matter, it could be lots of different needs, a need for safety, a need for this, a need for that. And when everybody can understand each other's needs, you can brainstorm an agreement or solution as to how everyone's needs can be met. And instead of rules with punishments, come up with it's agreements of how to do of how things can be done. Like, so for example, with my kids at this age, it's fairness that comes up a lot, a need for fairness, a need to know that they matter, and so they want to have turns, and they've come up with solutions where they say, "Mommy, will you set a timer, and this one will have so much time to do something," because we share things, and then when the timer goes off, then it's the other one's turn, and this is something that they've come up with. But it instead of thinking of it as a punishment, we can have some kind of a negative connotation. It's about an agreement to set needs, and sometimes they come up with something, and sometimes it works, and it meets everybody's needs, and then you realize, oh, it didn't really. Okay, well, let's adjust. Let's go back and adjust and say, okay, maybe we need to dig deeper and find out what the real needs are, and maybe we can brainstorm a solution as to how to meet those needs. There's actually, if you go to cnvc.org, there's like tons of material on this and this methodology and how to do it in all kinds of areas. It works with adults, it works with kids, it works with everybody. I actually did an app, a cell phone app about that. It's a whole other thing about communication with kids on all this. But internally, we can do that within ourselves. It's having that self-conversation as well, and I keep coming back, Sarita, when you use the thing you said, and it's just having this awareness that everything happens for a reason, and looking for the good, asking what's the good in this situation, and even, you know, and then listening to that inner wisdom as to what can come up out of that, or that inner gut, or that inner instinct, and or the inner voice, or whatever it is, and then asking ourselves, what can we get? What can I give in this moment? And allowing that to come up. I mean, that's just one other suggestion in all of that. Oh, Greta, I know you'd posted in our chat that we've got something from that somebody posted something on our page. We've got some comments. Do you want to get into that? What was there on the page? Oh, I can't hear you, hon. Can you unmute?
That's so funny when that happens. Just start talking to yourself. Do you mean the comment that I put in the chat?
Yeah, was that something on the page?
That was me. That was me.
Oh, that was you.
It was just one more thing that I really wanted to share is such a huge part of our everyday is to dance as if no one is watching. And I think Sarita had talked about that, doing that with her kids before. And we just like crank on the tunes wherever we are, in the van, traveling. We even take the karaoke machine down to the beach and the kids busk and they dance their hearts out. And it just makes such a huge difference. It's like, it just shifts everything. Like, you can really feel a huge difference. So whether you think you're the worst dancer in the world or whatever it is, I feel like it's only natural for us to just move. You know, you can move and shake your butt and do whatever you want. Just move to the beat of your own drum if that's all you have to do, or whatever. You know, close your bedroom door, go in the bathroom. Say when you wake up in the morning, whether you have time to or create the time to listen to audios, things like that, just say one thing to yourself. Just say, you know, if you're just, you know, you woke up and you're feeling tired, just say, I can do this. You know, even if it's just whatever, or just say, I'm awesome. Or like I'm going to do something today that's going to make a difference. Like, whatever it is, just something small. I swear, if you do that, it will change. Like, just saying that one positive affirmation to yourself will change your day. It will make a difference for your entire day. When you start that, when your first thought is a positive thought towards yourself, empowering yourself in the morning. It really, really will. Even if something happens, you know, you wake up and there's a peed in bed or something, or you wake up with pee all over you, just be like, oh, life is awesome, I'm alive, whatever, you know, it doesn't matter. So yeah, dance as if no one is watching. That's what I had in the chat. And, you know, I was saying hello and chatting with people on the page here. Where am I? You know, Elizabeth was asking, just so we can actually really give clarity on what the 3-day challenge is. Elizabeth was asking exactly what it is. So those of you who were not clear with that, I'm sure Valerie can make sure that you have the exact, you know exactly what it is. And yeah, just people saying hello, awesome moms, and I can't. Is that Emma or Emma Rienel or something like that? I'm sorry if I'm totally slaughtering your name. It looks very beautiful.
Oh, yeah, I know her.
Okay. And Sonia, yeah, so thank you for saying hello, ladies, and we're just happy to have you here with us today.
Yeah. So yeah, I
love that dance like no one.
Yeah. I'll get into it again at the very end with what the challenge is. Yeah, very soon. I remember I was just going through my notes. I remember what it was. Sarita had triggered something in me. She was talking about how science is coming up with different things about how the way we think can affect ourselves physically. I know I'm jumping back and forth here, but yeah, there's all this stuff. And again, if you go to agapelive.com and they talk in the streaming archives, they talk about it. I think it was the Sunday before, the Wednesday before, but the idea that we have our left, the left brain and the right brain, the left brain and the right brain. When we are thinking negative thoughts and feeling negative things, what happens is it releases toxic chemicals in our body, and that those toxic chemicals actually affect our left and right brain from communicating properly to each other, which blocks the frontal cortex. Actually, they've been doing studies on all this to be able to actually open up to the positive, open up to what we're talking about in terms of, if you want to call it thinking outside the box, or opening up to intuition or our gut or all of that, that it actually does that. And and it's toxic, so the toxic chemicals literally affect our body in a negative way. Negative thoughts lead to negative feelings, which literally affects the way our brain, the toxic chemicals affects the way we think, our ability to think clearly, to think straight, so to speak. All of that is affected by that. On the opposite end of it, when we have positive thoughts and positive feelings, the left and the right hemisphere talk to each other. They communicate well, which opens up our ability, I guess, in our frontal cortex. I hope I'm not butchering all of this, but there's more of this. There's so much you can research on this, that literally opens ourselves up to be able to actually hear inner intuition, listen, think better, subconscious, whatever you want to call it. All of that, it opens ourselves up to that. So that's just understanding on all of that level. So getting into what the 3-day challenge is it's making that, taking all of the different things that we say here. There's going to be, for each one of you, it's going to be something different is going to resonate with you. For me, I took something powerful. I'm going to be doing my little playlist at night. I love that, Serena. I'm adding that in and having that going all the time. I listen to going to sleep, but having a playlist that goes all through, I love that. Absolutely adore that. There'll be different bits and pieces of this that each one of us go, you know what, I need to add that. I've been doing this, but I need to add that. And having the conscious awareness to stop ourselves from saying anything negative, whether it's to our kids, whether it's to ourselves, right? Like I don't know, but some people even say things out loud to ourselves, saying things like, I can do this, or whatever it is in the morning, everything is working together for my good. When something happens, everything is working together for my good. I may not know what it is, but it is. And asking, that question, what is, what good is here? Looking for the good. What good is here in the moment? What gift, what good can I bring in this moment? And looking for the needs, the underlying needs, before jumping out in reflex and saying something negative to somebody else, whether in writing or verbally, to hold and make a conscious effort to stop ourselves from doing that. That means gossip, that means anything, and to our kids, and this is a powerful thing, instead of going into the place of no, 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 with little ones especially, I don't know what I was going to say, little ones especially, where maybe the brainstorming of ideas is not quite there, it's not a capability, you can have that internal conversation with yourself of guessing what's going on with them and redirect. Dancing or something, anything, like all those different things, and maybe making a conscious effort of surrounding with our kids with the positive stuff that we're talking, that all of these ladies have talked about, and the things that they do, the way they start their day, what they have around, and in the moment redirecting, especially the little ones, into something fun and positive, instead of reacting with something negative that might come flying out of us. Looking to find with the older ones ways to sit down and come, find agreements, and instead of verbally slapping somebody down for what they just did, looking for what was the need, what was really going on in there, what maybe were they like that thing that they were thinking about that they didn't see or hear, and finding out what their real needs are, because there's a beautiful underlying need under what everybody does. We just don't necessarily take action on it in the right way, and there may be a lack of awareness. I mean, there's a lot of permutations on it, but it's making that conscious decision to do that for the next 3 days, and it's a challenge. It's a challenge to do. I'll be honest. I attempted to do this when it was first suggested to me. It was about a week ago, to do it for 3 days, and I didn't do it. I didn't make it, but I'm pulling, in a way, this is me going to say an accountability group. We're going to do this all together, to do this for 3 days. For 3 days of starting with just, and if you mess up, just, you know what, it's okay. You take a look and go, have the awareness, just having the awareness even. And that's a big thing. If you discover you're having negative thoughts to yourself inside, right, having that awareness, to get super excited about having that awareness. And if you want, we can even have in our chat on this page a place where we can, throughout the next 3 days, talk about, yay, I did it, or I became aware of negative and I caught it, you know, and sharing that with ourselves, we can do that a little bit and give each other support, going, yes, you did it, you caught it, hooray. Because when you make that awareness that you've, just the awareness that you've been in the negative, that you've gone down that rabbit hole for a period of time, and it can be hours, because it's a habit that we're changing here. When you become aware that you went there, instead of getting hard on yourself and going, oh, I'm in this challenge, and I told myself I wasn't going to do this, go, yes, I'm conscious of it, I'm aware. And that is a victory, because you've separated from it, and it literally raises your vibration when you become a celebration of the awareness of where you went, right? And that in and of itself can transform. That can help you to take trance to the next level. Any of you guys ladies want to jump out or talk on any of that? Greta. Oh, there we go. I see you wrote. You want to say what you wrote in the chat there?
Sure. I was just, you know, I love that whole thing. I think Sarita had shared it a long time ago about how she holds her hand on her heart, you know, and that's very, very powerful. And one thing that I started doing a long time ago as well, a few years ago now, was actually doing that with my children and putting my hand on their heart and taking that moment, just stopping everything else that was going on in the world around me, slowing life down, and just taking that moment one-on-one with whatever child needed it at that moment, and holding my hand on their heart and just allowing the energy to be transferred, that love, and to just feel the love between me and my child. And it goes without words. It's just this energetic sort of passing and sharing. And I highly, highly recommend doing that. And any moment that maybe there's some sort of negative energy that might be just a barrier between you and your child for whatever reason. I mean, it could be small, it could be big. And just to take that moment, you know, is very, very powerful. And smelling the backs of their necks. You know, just smelling that sweetness, that sweet smell that they have, just like right at the nape of their neck, and kissing them more and hugging them more. And, you know, if that, of course, is what your child receives well, because not all of them, it's not all a need for a child. So I definitely don't mean like force yourself, you know, force the hugs and the kisses, because I have a problem with that as well. It's like I need that permission first, but to just do those types of things more, you know, to take those moments. He's actually, I have a little one here this is totally hilarious, but he likes to drink his milk and breastfeeding and eat at the same time. So he's literally eating a muffin that I made for him and then taking a sip of milk, and it's just really weird. I mean, it's not a bottle, it's my breast, so it's kind of funny. But anyways, that's what's going on for me right now. Just love more. Just take that extra bit of time to just be conscious of how you're giving and receiving love. It's just important.
Love that, Greta. And we've lost. I think we lost. Sarita and Gabrielle popped out. I don't know if it's internet, if they're coming in, coming back. I hope so. But we'll all be here next week. And so, Elizabeth, do you have anything else that you wanted to add onto folks to encourage them within the challenge? I don't know if we can hear.
I guess the only thing that you can say or do is that you reframe what you're looking at. You know, the first time I ever did it, I was in a car and we were in stop traffic, and all I could think of at first was, oh my God, I'm going to be late for my appointment. And then the next thing I did was, you know what? Law of attraction says, think of what you want to happen. Like, the traffic is going to start moving. We're going to get to our appointment on time, and I am so thankful and grateful that this happened. And it sounds weird. I know it sounds weird. It totally sounded weird to me when I did it, but you know what? We made it within a minute to spare, and they got us in as fast as we possibly could. And I saw that, and I'm like, well, maybe it does work. So I started applying it then. The result is Charlie. You know, I wanted what I wanted in a relationship, and a month and a half later, you know, I end up with this great guy in my life. So it sounds weird when you do it. You look at the negative that's happening, and then you turn around and you rephrase it to what you want to be happening, and then just keep looking at it that way. But it works. I thought it was the craziest thing in the world, but it definitely works. Hi!
That's awesome.
That is.
Say hello to you for like the last 20 minutes, and I had it on mute. So.
No, I love it. And Sarita's back, yay! So, Sarita, do you want anything else, and then we'll close out?
I just wanted to say two things that sometimes, you know, like some sentences that have helped me, like.
Can you? I don't know. Can you hear Sarita? I don't know if it's a little bit softer.
Can you hear me?
It's softer. Almost. Yeah, it's definitely softer.
Yeah, because I really want to hear what you're about to say.
Okay, I'm going to speak up. Yeah, so it's just if you find yourself in a negative place or something bad just happened, this too shall pass is a big one. And that's one of the, it's a great, you know, what do you call it, affirmation or something that, it's just someone actually, a really good friend of mine told me that, and I know it's a very general, many people meditated on that, but it's truly a good one when you're in a bad place. This too shall pass. And another one was life works for you. Life is actually working for you.
Yes.
And life is happening for you. That's what it is. Life is happening for you.
Yeah.
I actually heard that the first time. I think one of the guys, Aaron Reshkin, was talking about that. But obviously, I think maybe someone else before, you know, it gets passed on these awesome sentences. But it's actually true, like when you look at your life and, you know, even the negative things you thought at that point in time was the worst thing ever. You realize there were blessings in disguise, and it's actually happening for you. You know, whatever is happening for you.
Yeah.
So yes, life is happening for you, and this too shall pass. This is something that just helps me just to keep me uplifted. You know, keep me in that uplifted state.
Life is working for you. I want to make a suggestion if we can do, because I was going to do just end with a few just affirmations that we could have that maybe everybody can use in the next few days and the next week. So I would love if if everybody right now, if we could do this all together, just saying one, Sarita, say life is for you, and then we'll all say it together afterwards, and then I'll come up with one, and we can each say one thing that we can all share as an affirmation.
Yeah, so life is happening for you.
Life is
happening for you.
I love it. And I'm going to say another one. And nothing, and everything is working for my own good.
Everything is working for my own good.
Nothing is working against me.
Nothing is working against me.
And I'm just going to look at what was the other ones that I had. I had a few that I was going to do at the end here, but that's actually such a powerful one. You know, life is working for you. Nothing is working. Even just life is working for you. Nothing is working against me. Everything is happening for my own good. I had my notes in front of me and I scrolled past it at one point. Just a sec here. I think somebody was going to say something. What was the other one? And everything was been good. Here we go. Just a second. Oh goodness, I had it in front of me, and then okay. Patience while I scroll through here. I had it. Everything. Oh yeah. Yeah, life is for me, nothing is against me. I live in a friendly universe. That was the only other one. Yeah. Life is for me, nothing is against me. I love life is working for me. I love that. Nothing is against me, and I live in a friendly universe.
We'll do I live in a friendly universe.
Oh, here's another one. Here's another good one I just saw. Yeah, for the life is working for me, I have an ad, even if I can't see exactly how right now, right? Just, that awareness that even if you can't see it exactly right now, and Elizabeth, you were talking about this great thing about being in traffic, and even if you don't do that thing before, you end up showing up somewhere late, or something happens, it's like there's a positive in there. Everything is working together for my good, even if I can't see how right now. There's so much good wanting to happen through me. That's another one. There's so much good wanting to happen through me. So with that, we're going to...
I love that one.
There's so much good wanting to happen through me. Yeah. Whoop! I know when I click on Sarita, it comes up black on the screen there. So I'm just going to go back over here. Maybe that's just me. All right, so we're going to close out. Everybody, we can do this in the next 3 days. So those of you that are you in with our transformation, say I'm in the chat. Even if you're following this in the replay, share with us your wins throughout the next couple of days. Even if it's, hey, I went down that rabbit hole and I came back out. And the process of this, I'm very excited for us to do this. If you want to connect with us and get access to a lot of everything that we do, there's always the link below, whoever brought you to this hangout, and we will all see you all next week.